Oh, well, thank you for coming. So hopefully, by the time you leave, you have a brief idea what New Skin is all about, and I hope you stay with us because I've always felt New Skin is a very strange company because I came into New Skin through a door called Pharmanex. That was more than 20 years ago. It was a company that I founded, and for intents and purposes, when New Skin came and visited with us, we were only about 3 years old. They decided to acquire us and sort of make us part of the family. And since then, I've been learning what is New Skin all about, you know? Yeah, the only thing I learned when they first came and talked to us was that it was a direct selling company. I think, what do I know about? Anyway, it's really one thing led to another, and they obviously decided to buy New Skin. I almost at that point in time started to learn about New Skin, and in a way, I'm very much like some of the new folks here. You hear this word, somebody invited you here, all right? It's another direct selling company. It's another one that's going to tell me a story, all right, and get me to join. I'm hoping that invitation to come is actually quite meaningful, and with a better understanding of New Skin, that it's really going to be worth your time to continue with New Skin. We're going to talk about aging because this is what we do in New Skin. Ever since the foundation back in 1984, and you saw that, 1984, that's a year that the company was founded by 3 individuals. And it always been about trying to help people live better longer. Remember that. It's always been about not live longer. It's always about living better longer. That's a big difference. And the difference being is about the quality of life. All right? So remember, it's not about always, it's magically, we always think, oh, aging. That's why the message will be, I want to live as long as possible. I think that's a wrong thinking because it's really something not really, in a way, appealing. Think about it this way. If you live long, but you leave it in a wheelchair and you cannot get out of bed, what's the point? Right? So it's about your quality of life. And on a personal level, my father never had that quality of life. 5 years before he passed away at 89 or thereabouts, 89, he was suffering. He never had a quality of life. He was in a wheelchair. Okay? So every time I see him, he's suffering. So when he finally passed, in a way, I was in a way glad because he doesn't have to suffer anymore. That's what New Skin has always been, about the quality of life. That's why we say we are living better. And aging is something that you can do. 12 months from now, we're all going to be a year older. There's nothing I can do about that. Neither can you do anything about it. But during that year, if you keep your body from aging biologically, then I think you're going to stay younger, longer. That's what we are thinking of. And the reason is because lots of scientific studies, right? And it shows here that as you get older, there's a top curve that's called a lifespan or chronological aging. And then the bottom one is what we call health span or biological aging. Same, interchangeable, those two definitions, right? So the gap is what we're trying to narrow. Because right now we are all living longer, actually, in every country in the world, in that sense, right? So, but the gap is actually widening. That's what we're trying to do, is about the health span. So that, and you're going to hear a lot of words, and it's healthy aging here as well. And I already mentioned to you, it's about living better longer. Think about it, and some of you, when you come here, I'm hoping, yeah, it is about the products, but it's also about a business opportunity in New Skin, right? So think about it this way. If you indeed are interested in the business opportunity, if you will, in the world of New Skin, Isn't it really good? Because when you become, it's not an if, it's when you become successful in New Skin, do you not like to reward yourself with a healthier body? What's the point of being really successful financially and you're not able to enjoy that success? So this is a very strange business in the sense, because there are very few businesses in the world that allow you to do that, to combine the two. I mean, all of us have heard this saying, right? Oh my goodness, I have to work so hard. Sometimes I have to work myself to death before I become successful. I don't think in New Skin that is the objective. I hope you remember that, because that's what like I said, New Skin is a strange company. And it's even stranger when you think about it that this is a company that is for you, by you, with you. For the new people, this is especially important because you're not joining a company. You're not going to work for New Skin. New Skin doesn't hire you. You have decided to become part of the family. That's the difference. Again, for the new people, understand this. New Skin can never survive if all of you sitting here truly don't consider New Skin as your company. Because when you really seriously believe in New Skin being your company, then you do your level best, right? You always want the best for your family. This is not a job. And our products are also meant to sort of get you into that success trip or the journey or whatever you call it, in the sense that our products guarantees that you're going to have that healthy body so that you can enjoy your success. And that's why we are an Asian company. And I talk about New Skin innovation. Let me take you through the history a little bit. Right. In 1984, we came out with this, what is it? A sort of personal care, New Skin. That's where the name came from. And that was when we came in 1998. Pharmanex was acquired in 1998, and I came into the world of New Skin, and I started to learn what this direct selling is all about. And here's the point. What I learned about direct selling and about network marketing and so on is, frankly, there are many, many sort of, I guess I should call them bad habits, practice in network marketing, right? One of the ones, especially in my area of products and so on, is the fact that it seems like there are a lot of companies are willing to say a lot of things without proof. And they expect you to believe it, right? Take this, it's good for you. Why? Well, because my grandmother says so. Well, because we all love our grandmothers. Don't get me wrong. But surely one person is enough to really prove that the product is good? No. You should not think that way, right? And that's why we do the science. I'm a scientist by training, and that's how I think. Like it or not, that's the way I've been brought up, if you will, is that I need proof. And I need really objective proof. And the only way I can do that is to do scientific studies and to do research on the ingredients and finally the product. That's what New Skin does all the time. It's truly that's what New Skin is all about, right? At least from my side, the science that we do is your guarantee that our products are safe and effective. Okay? So that's really the message. Because I want to share with you the scientific studies. And oftentimes the scientific data is sort of difficult to understand. I totally get it. But I'm hoping you get a sense we actually went through. We do what we say. We don't say what we say. And that's why New Skin bought Pharmanex, is because it can go to the next level to do the science and to make sure that all our products, skincare, nutritional supplement, doesn't matter. It's all developed through the same scientific process. So we brought a scanner. In spite of all the science I told you about, it's something that you cannot see. And it's something that you cannot feel. Sometimes you can, I take Life Pack. Oh, yeah, it's good for me. I say it's good for me. Yes, I got the scientific studies. Yes. But you still say, I can't feel anything. And that's why we brought out back in 2003 or thereabouts, late 2002, the biophotonic scanner. It was the answer to help you. Because Nu Skin there's another strange element to it. It's not a traditional company. We don't advertise. We don't market. We don't do anything. You never see a TV ad on Nu Skin. Nobody knows that we exist unless you guys tell them about the company. Right? This has always been the way of Nu Skin. If you don't represent Nu Skin and actually build your organization in a way, Nu Skin dies. It doesn't exist. Right? And so we continue and we bring you ageLOC. This is an interesting inflection point, I call it, in the history of Nu Skin, because we're starting to look at sources of aging. Yeah, right. We're starting to find these genes. Okay? There are those genes that exist in your body. Okay? So it's very important to look at those genes. And we're starting to discover there are certain genes that are very much related to how you age. That biological aging I told you about. And that's why we developed ageLOC and science, if you will, and started to launch ageLOC products. Very fundamental and way more meaningful ahead of all our competitors. And then we follow up, obviously, on the beauty side with a lot of devices. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on Prism as we go forward, because you just got Prism. And I'm willing to bet many of you do not truly appreciate what you have in your hands. I'm not quite sure you truly appreciate what Prism can do to tell you about your body. So I'll go through that going forward. So that's the sources of aging that we do. Very few competitors do that. All our products are actually going after the genetic sources of aging, influencing them, if you will, to make them actually behave younger in that sense. Let's move on from science. Let's go and truly get deep benefits behind our products. And we have done all that, and the legacy of information that we have, and those are the products, it illustrates what we have. ageLOC, in fact, has sold, up to now, it's about what? Slightly over 15 years, $15 billion, US dollars. Right? Again, this is a proof point for me. Remember, I'm very much dependent on data and evidence to say something. This is another proof point for me that in Nu Skin, this is all due to all of you. It doesn't happen magically by somebody at company in Provo waving the wand and it suddenly appears. It's actually because of all you guys are very productive and still continue to grow your organization. All right. So, yeah, healthy aging, antioxidants. That's what the scanner had been measuring. And I bet many of you still remember the scanner is measuring antioxidants. If you do actually study the scanner when you were here when we launched it, and it continued to measure that, right? But Prism has taken that measurement and added more meaning to it. This is where we are going into a very, very brave new world, I call it. Okay? All of you have, that's why all of you, when you do have the Prism, you have a Prism, a magical device that can actually see into your body as regards to the aging. All right. Even in TRME, with the weight management, right? You guys, when you sort of consider TRME as a success, sometimes I feel you look at it and say, wow, you're shaping the body. You look in the mirror, I really look good, and all that kind of stuff, right? But really, there's a more meaningful benefit out of it, which is less apparent. And that is your body is getting healthier. You are aging slower. That's what the prism, I might as well tell you now, that's what the prism will be able to help you see that. Up to this point, that healthier body, in a way, is invisible. We're going to make that invisibility visible. So, this is what we have. The prism sits right at the nexus. Weight loss, you can see you're all going to look good. You get yourself naked in the morning before you get in the shower, you step on your scale. Oh, I'm looking good. All right. But I'm way more hopefully that you will get into when you start talking about TRME. In the long term, it is meant to keep your body healthier. That's why looking good, feeling good. And that's what it is. So let's go with that. Anyway, yeah. So this is the engineering, just to show you. The scanner, the prism, was developed because of the previous scanner that we call S3. But it's more than that, because in addition, over the last 20 years, we have collected a lot of data. All right, scientific data, not just on the number, the score, but also lifestyle changes in that person. Millions of data points. So naturally, we want to know whether there's any connection with all these facts that we have collected and scientific evidence. And we couldn't do that manually because no human being can physically analyze millions of data points until AI came. And when AI came, we were able to throw all the data into an algorithm, we call it, driven by AI, and that's where we saw the translation happening, or the correlation. That the score actually meant it's an indicator of nutritional health. That's what we call, on the right side, the Raman technology, or the Raman database. That connection, okay? I'll tell you why this translation is so profound and it's not something that anybody can do. None of our competitors can do that. Some of the more knowledgeable people say, oh, yeah, there's another device out there can also measure this carotenoid thing. You know, yeah. Nothing special about this thing and so on and so forth, right? Well, no. Yes, they can measure it, but they can't find out the meaning. They don't have this database. So they don't have this algorithm. You know, AI, all of you are so proud, right? You go out and say, oh, yeah, this AI is going to change the world. Do you know what's the meaning of AI? Really? Do you know AI doesn't work if it doesn't have data? You know where the data are coming from? It's coming from the web. Ever since the launch of the web, they have billions of data points. That's how AI works. No data, no AI. Still don't believe me, huh? When you were born, all right, you were born with a brain. Betul, right? You got a brain, right? How come you're not instantly a genius? Why does your mother have to teach you how to speak? You learn by listening to your parents. Then you go to school. Why did you have to go to school? You're educated, lah. What does that mean? Educated. You're putting data into your brain. Same thing. The computer program is like a brain. It remains stupid if it doesn't have data. So, Anyway, so that's really what it's all about, AI, and that's what we're doing with this one. We took that, and it's AI driven. Prism is actually an AI device, right? That's one of the things. Yes, it's measuring antioxidant, but we did the translation. That's the important thing, and we have validated it because there's one thing that you can measure. It's like a ruler, or what we call a gold standard. In the blood, you can measure these antioxidants in the blood and so on. It's very specific, the technology for measuring that. And we can do that. We compare, we always get a one-to-one correlation. What you see when it goes up in the skin, you actually see it going up in the blood as well. So no difference in that sense. And all this diet and lifestyle, right? The bad things you do coming back, honestly. In a sense, our products, insofar as, for example, Life Pack, you don't have to take Life Pack if you have a perfect diet. And what is the perfect diet? Lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of colorful things you eat. Eat more vegetables, and so on and so forth, right? You have to eat a comprehensive. You sort of instinctively and intuitively know that because you always try to eat those fruits too, after a meal in that sense. But eat more of them. So that's what those things will get your nutritional health up. If you don't eat good, you go the other way. The reality is, right, you don't need to take Life Pack if you truly follow what is needed. But we don't eat enough of it. Time and time again, scientific studies throughout the world show nobody, if I measure all your vitamins and all the minerals in your blood, I cannot find a single person that can satisfy what we call the recommended daily allowance levels, right? And that's why Life Pack is required. Another example of our products. It's called a supplement, right? It's not called a replacement. It's not called a substitution. It's supporting. That's the reality. And again, this is a proof in a sense. When you use the Prism, now we've got antioxidant. Remember, I've already translated nutritional health. Okay? Now is the beginning of another translation. And this is a key. This is a breakthrough. And this is what we're going to do and take you through now. So we already know you can improve. For example, with Life Pack, you can show that the score goes up. So we did a study in Stanford. And at Stanford, you know that's university, right? You know the one in San Francisco, right? Yeah. You pay a lot of money to go to that. So anyway, so we did a study at Stanford Medical School. And what we show is that we look at their features, no problem. It was a skin study, actually. And then we say, why don't we take some of their blood from all these individuals and analyze for a particular kind of genetic change? The fancy word is epigenetic change. All right. And I'll tell you the meaning of what that epigenetic changes relate to. But stay with me right now. So it's a genetic analysis that we did on the blood. So when the results came out, we matched the results from each person to a low Prism score group versus a high Prism score group. And what we saw is amazing, because what we saw was the fact that epigenetic changes told us that every tissue out of those 11 systems that we measured, they were getting younger. 4 years younger on the average. All right. On the average, I'll just show you on the next slide, that's 4 years younger in that sense. So it's unmistakable. I'm beginning to see, now you're beginning to understand perhaps, you know, with the Prism, when you have a low score, I'm seeing epigenetic changes relating to aging that are not as good as those changes that are happening when you have a high Prism score. Nobody has seen that before. It's been happening all the time, but nonetheless, nobody could have seen it. Yeah? So, and that's what is leading. Next time, I'll tell you about why those epigenetic changes are so important, because it leads to another discovery, and that is that they're all related to a particular clock. We call it the aging clock that controls every tissue in your body. All right. So what it's actually doing, in a way, if you will, because of those epigenetics, that aging clock in those 11 tissues actually slow down. So your rate of aging or the pace of aging slows down. So that's why you're keeping you younger. Nobody has seen that before. That's the magical thing that's happening with the prism. We've taken it and translated it to another level, to an extremely high level. What was the logo in Nu Skin? When you look at it, do I have it on this side? No, I don't have it this side. When you look at it, right, that thing? Fountain of youth. Does that remind you why I say it at the beginning? We have always been an anti-aging company. Because back then, even Blake decided to make a logo of the Fountain of Youth. And it's always been an incredible search, if you will, the desire from every culture in the world to look for that Fountain of Youth. I believe with the prism, we're starting to see what the real Fountain of Youth is, and is in your body at a genetic level. Right? So we have that, and we take you through this whole journey, well-being. And so that's the Nu Skin future. And it's be able to see inside your body, take whatever you see inside the body, and be able to provide you with a solution. And obviously the solution is relating to a product. Whether it's TRME or some other product in the future, the whole thing fits together in a very nice, I guess, anti-aging umbrella. And also, by the way, anti-aging, I noticed there's some young folks sitting here as well. Yeah, when somebody tell you about anti-aging, sometimes you guys, get really weird and you say, it's not for me. I'm young. I don't need your products. They're anti-aging, right? They're for old people. However, this is a conversation piece. When you change that and say, no, wait. There's another side to this coin. And this other side to the coin is what? Oh, these products can actually preserve your youth. Preserving your youth. That is, in a way, for the young folks, they are beginning to say, obviously, I want to preserve my youth. These products are for me too. So it's the flexibility of your conversation. In a way, sometimes in direct selling, right? It's very difficult. Because I hear all the time, in Nu Skin even, okay, this is really good in Nu Skin. 5% 6-level deep. I don't understand what 5% 6-level deep is. However, you soon begin to appreciate that. But if you go with a health proposition, then it's a different response you might get. And then you can follow up. Everybody has a slightly different way of responding, right? Because the reason why I'm saying this is at the end of the day, Nu Skin is also a leadership company. In fact, it is a leadership company. What does it mean? Leadership means you have to lead. You lead by actually first being an example, and second, build your organization. It comes down to that. Time and time again, and this is what I've learned over the last 20 years. Nu Skin has always been about you, have always been with you, and always been for you. If you don't act as a leader, right, even from the very beginning, Nu Skin doesn't exist. So, here's the call to action, hopefully, for all of you. I hope you get a sense of what new skin is, and we are actually at a very nice inflection point. So it's almost a ground floor opportunity joining new skin right now, and be able to grow with us, okay, and become a member of the family. Thanks so much.